There are 5 million veterans left around who served in Vietnam, 700,000 who served in the Korean War, 66,000 who served in World War II, and 0 surviving veterans who served in World War I. The time we're getting to spend with these people is going down, and one day there will come a day when we don't get to ask them questions about their stories anymore. To spark the conversation, I interviewed veterans and first responders, asking them to share their stories with the world. My goal for this video is to share the stories of veterans, igniting conversations all over the world and spreading the message not to forget our veterans. I'll be sharing this video to YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram, on top of that also to my school, my youth, and my church. And I ask you to do the same. Ask questions now, start talking now, because one day there will come a day when we don't get to anymore. This is the story of our veterans. Well, hello there.
Hi.
I'm Jesse Starling.
Hi, John Keene.
John Keene. Alrighty, well, that was my first question. So I think we're up to a great start. Mr. Jose.
Jesse,
How
thank you
are
for
you doing?
doing good. Thank you for having me here today.
Absolutely. It is good to see you.
Can I drink my coffee while we
Of
do
course
this?
you can. Alrighty, well, to start off with, let's start with your name and how old you are.
I am John Higdon. I am 48 years old, and I'm an instructor at ROTC at Baker High School.
Let's start off with, what branch did you join?
I was in the Army.
The Army? Mm-hmm. Okay, and when did you join it?
I joined the Army in September of 1998.
Let's start with your name and how long you were in the Coast Guard for.
All right. My name is Jose Adams. I was in the Coast Guard for 22 years.
Awesome. So, what branch of the military are you in?
I started off in the Marine Corps. I was in the Marines for 4 years, and then I got in the Army after I got out of the Marine Corps.
Wow, so what led you to go from the Marine Corps to the Army?
The Army's where I wanted to be. Now, I wanted to start off in the Army, and I had aspirations of being an airborne ranger, and was here in ROTC at Baker, and had broken my ankle when I was a kid. And when I went to the MEPS, the military entrance processing station, I told them the truth, and it permanently disqualified me for service.
No.
So I went to the Marine recruiter down the hall, and I told him, I need some help. Is there any way I can join the Marines? He asked me if anything was wrong. I said, no. And 4 years later, I was out of the Marines. I waited 6 months and then went into the Army.
What did anything surprise you as you joined?
Not really as I joined. One of the kind of surprising things was my first duty station. I went to Camp Casey, South Korea. Mm-hmm. So at 18 years old, first time not living in my mom and dad's house, I moved to Korea.
Wow.
And that was a bit of a culture shock.
Yeah.
And just a bit of adjustment. Like I said, from living with your mom and dad to totally on your own. Mm-hmm. I mean, even if I wanted to call, there was like a 13-hour time difference.
Wow, yeah.
So it was a challenge.
Mm-hmm. Taking this step to live away from family must have been a tough decision. I think about my own family and what I want, and I can't imagine being able to make that kind of decision. It must have been really difficult. On top of that, going from a religious household to living in the Army, where that's not really talked about a whole bunch. Before you joined the Army and before you did all of that, were you ever the kind of person to pray or go to church or anything like that?
Yeah, I was very involved in church back in high school and that sort of stuff. Mm-hmm. I joked that we were at church every time the doors were open and sometimes when they weren't yet.
Was it easy going from being in that kind of environment to being in the Army? Did you see a difference?
I mean, there was definitely a difference, a bit of a culture shock.
Did you find it easy to stay in touch with the Lord as you were deployed?
Yes, a lot easier because this is before cell phones had the capability of having basically a computer in your hand. Mm-hmm. So at that time, for me, I spent a lot of times talking to him, praying out loud at sea when I was on watch, under the stars or under the sun. Or sometimes I walked the ship on the outside and I was able to connect with him in a different level that I used to when I was at home. There's less distractions and stuff like that. So I did find it that I was able to connect with them a lot more in a personal way with them.
Did you found that you had grown in your faith after?
Absolutely, man. Absolutely, dude. There's nothing, hey, man, look, there's nothing that will make you more sure about faith, man, than looking at death daily. You know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta, either you turn to faith or you turn to something else.
Yeah.
And most of the people that I know that were strong turned to faith.
I think it's interesting hearing all of these different perspectives from different people about how they stay close to God during the new and hard times. It's different for everyone, but James 4:8 says, "Draw near to God and he will draw near to you." And that is exactly what I heard from all of these men. What was the scariest part about all of it?
The scariest part for most of that was just the unknown. I said I was 22 years old, just got married, just, going over there and trying to figure out what was happening. Because a lot of times you wouldn't know what was happening. And a lot of the training and stuff that we did was not geared as much towards actual conflict as it was geared more toward like peacekeeping operations.
How many deployments did you have?
Two. I have one to Iraq and one to Afghanistan.
Getting deployed has to be one of the scariest things in the military. The terror, the uncertainty, it has to be scary. But good can come from that. I think Sergeant Higdon said it best.
The beautiful thing about Iraq, if there's anything positive about it, we learned how to be good at what we needed to do to fight terror. We started figuring that out because terror is not conventional, man. You know what I mean? They had a deck of cards with these high-value targets, man, and that's what everybody in that theater was looking for.
Yeah.
You start with the start down and work your way through it, We're working with Special Operations, U.S. Special Operations, working with Rangers. We did a whole lot of stuff. We were actioning high-value targets for 9 months over there. That's what we were doing. We were doing the Lord's work, man. I felt better about that deployment and more success. I can hang my hat on Afghanistan, man, and know we did that right. Regardless of the politics of what happened after the fact, we did what we needed to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have any regrets?
No. There are things that happened. Some good, some not as good. But I know that I did the right thing with the information that I had at the time. And made the best decision that I could. And that's all you can ever do with anything, is make the best decision that you can with the information that you have.
Yeah.
So I made the best decision that I could.
Do you have any regrets over your time?
Yeah, it was the biggest regret I have is that I was so young that I did a lot of things that I sacrificed a lot of time away from family, especially my wife and kids. I missed my daughter's first crawl, first walk, first words, both of them, because I spent at sea deployed. I missed a lot of my sons. Now he's 16, but I missed a lot of his early years. T-ball, soccer, Boy Scouts, Cub Scouts. When I come home, I did everything I could with him, but I was gone so much that I missed out on a lot. So that is one regret that I have, that because I was young and I was trying to be a provider for my family, I didn't put them first.
Hearing Jose talk about things he wishes he had done differently reminds me to stay in the moment. It reminds me that it's not too late now to make changes that one day I will wish that I have made. That was really good to hear. Think of an experience from the military you have that shaped you into who you are now, or maybe a lesson that you learned that you think younger generations can benefit from that as this video is played and as people see it and as people growing up hear this, that they could hear to help inspire them or that they could benefit from?
The one thing that really stands out to me, so I had a pair of running shoes and they were very distinct looking. And I had wore them out and they were no good and I threw them away. Like I said, we hire a lot of locals and that sort of stuff to come on and do stuff. 3 days later, I saw one of the locals wearing my shoes. And he was proud, so proud of those shoes. And I had just thrown them away. And I was like, man, how spoiled am I that the stuff that I just threw away because it was no good. This man is so proud to have my garbage. And so that really shaped me in being thankful for what I have.
Tell me about a situation that kind of maybe like surprised you, or maybe like something happened to you and it was not what you were expecting, and how you handled that. Do you have any kind of
Oh man, yeah, dude, just about every day. Just about every day on that first deployment, man. I think nothing was ever as it seemed. The other thing, I didn't think it was going to be anything like. I got blown up one night, and that was nothing like I thought it was going to be like, man. And that was I had gone to bed and had my daughter's picture or whatever, man, and we had a mortar attack, and a mortar hit. I don't know how far it was, man. It was close enough that shrapnel blew out our glass and came inside of the window of the room we were staying in. And I think it bothered me so bad, man, because it was my prayer time and it was my daughter time, you know.
Yeah.
So that was something that I never expected, and I think to be honest with you, man, it made me a better soldier. It gave me something to fight back for, you know, long term. But yeah, that was something I didn't expect. I never expected that.
These experiences remind me that no one is promised a day. You can have all the plans in the world, but if God has something else in store, let His will be done, not ours. I think that's it. I think I benefited from this conversation, even just, having someone like this to talk to.
Well, thank you.
I did prepare a little something ahead of time,
Oh, okay.
so I thought it would be nice if I give you a shirt. As we are about to wrap up, there's one more thing
Yeah, okay.
that I wanted to do,
All right.
and just to kind of show you, my appreciation, I got you a
dude.
shirt.
Oh man.
Well, there's one more thing,
Uh-huh.
real quick, I wanted to do, just to kind of show my thanks to you. I got you a shirt.
Shoot ya, man! Get down, brother. That's what's up, man.
Thank you so much.
For doing this.
Thank you.
It means a lot that you're willing to come out here and let me sit on your front porch and talk to you about this. So,
Thank you, man. This is amazing. I love it. Look at this thing. I'm actually gonna wear it on Saturday, man's breakfast.
yeah.
Yeah, and thanks for the interview too, man. I really appreciate it. You know what I'm
Absolutely.
saying?
Appreciate it. Thank you, sir, for your time.
I really enjoyed talking with you.
Yeah, man.
It means a lot that you're willing to come out here and let me sit on your front porch and talk to you about this. So, I'm really, really appreciative of that. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You may have noticed I gave shirts to all the veterans I interviewed in this video. I have created an online store where you can buy veteran shirts yourself, or for a veteran you may know. Buy one and maybe give it to them and say thank you for serving our country, and ask a question. Ask for a story or maybe an experience that they have. If there's one thing I learned is that they're waiting to talk about it. Someone just needs to ask. All the money I make from these shirts will go directly to Volunteers of America to help veterans suffering from PTSD and other mental illnesses. The store won't be up forever, so do it now while you still can. I have had so much fun talking with these veterans and hearing their stories. I look forward to continuing with this conversation even after this video, and I ask that all of you do the same. As long as we continue talking to these people and sharing their stories, how could anyone forget? Thanks for watching.